It is finally here. The tournament that defines us as professional wrestling fans. It is the mecca of professional wrestling, the ultimate test to the ultimate dream. Ladies and gentlemen, we have finally made it to G1 Climax 30, and I could not be more excited. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, evening, night. Konnichiwa to you all. My name is Noah Foster, and I'm just a simple man. And welcome to this simple take, really, on the G1 Climax. Before we begin, let me just go ahead and briefly say, from the New Japan World, I enjoyed the tour. Congratulations. Called it! To the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, Yoshinobu Kamaro and El Desperado, and an incredible six-man bout among Chaos members for the Neverweight Gold, as Yoshihashi, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroki Goto retained, while Tomohiro Ishii and Sho, they really led the match. I think Sho garnered Ishii's respect. Probably Sho's best breakout this year. With a year of so many firsts and so much variety and unpredictability going on, who knows what this G1's going to bring? So with that, let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to tell you the participants, some brief thoughts about each one of them, maybe highlight some records of many of the participants in this year that were in last year, as well as my overall picks. I'm going to bring you two picks for each block that I believe can make it to the finals. And overall, out of the potential four I could see, two from A, two from B, I'm going to pick one of those to be my overall winner, and I am holding this little contest among all my fellow wrestling fans in Team Indie DQ and Team All Elite. Shout out to Ashley Reynolds, Martha Griff Reviews, Gina Jean, Cindy G, Chris Cash, you're seeing this. I hope you participate too. And shout out to all those on Twitter as well that I enjoy NJPW with, including but not limited to Wrestling Guide, Luffy Fan, Phoenix AEW, at Sierra RN, and at Color Assembly. And folks, if you haven't already, please support WrestleJoy. And also, I would like to announce WrestleJoy is hosting their own pick'em contest for the entire G1, where you can win autographs, literally signed by NJPW stars, and WrestleJoy merchandise. If you haven't learned or supported or even gone to WrestleJoy yet, please do. It is one of the best things to come out of the wrestling community this year, and definitely could be a positive highlight of your 2022. All right. Enough banter. Let's go ahead and talk about the G1. As you know, the G1 Climax will feature a field of 20 of the best in the world. New Japan originals, New Japan finalists and builds, as well as great up-and-comers in New Japan Pro Wrestling that are coming from the States to Japan under special circumstances while we still face these coronavirus times. I also would like to note that you will only see those participating in block action that night in pro wrestling action that show only. There will be no interclimacting tag matches before G1 Climax matches this time. It is strictly just block matches every show. This tournament will span a month long, as we will go literally starting, excuse me, October 19th. September 19th, 1 week from today, as I come to you 3:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all the way to the finale in October, that of course will emanate from, where else? Osaka Joe Hall. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the participants, shall we? So, as I briefly alluded to on my simple take prior to the New Japan World finale, we got our field of 20, and it is a who's who. We have our A block consisting of Kota Ibushi. Let me tell you a little bit about Kota Ibushi. You all know Kota Ibushi, right? This guy, he's an enigma in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but he signed a lifelong contract, probably going to finish his entire rest of his career there. Now, Tanahashi sees the future only him, but he must surpass him. And by the way, Tanahashi, for the first time in 8 years, I think, is in Block B. What? So anyway, Kota Ibushi, this is his fourth consecutive G1, and he won last year. Can he recapture that magic and capitalize where he failed at Wrestle Kingdom, losing out on 2 matches on the grandest stage of them all? Only time will tell. And to think, this year we've introduced Double Gold. We've introduced KLPW 2020. And honestly, it's just really introduced a lot of new rising stars when you think about who really has branched out this year, including one of my favorites, the Holy Emperor Taiji. With that being said, he's also in the G1 as well. Let's talk about Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb, who still is Ring of Honor at heart. He has been competing on NJPW Strong against Kenta. Lost recently to Kenta, trying to grab his certificate. This will be his second consecutive G1. He did pretty good last year, though. Had some decent showings. He and Taiji actually had a bit of a fallout, I believe, for the Never Openweight title. And by the way, if you all want to know even more information about all the participants in the G1 and the history of G1, please go to njpw1972.com, look for the archives, watch matches at njpwworld.com, and follow my friend at CRRN on Twitter. He writes great articles for New Japan Pro Wrestling. They're some of my favorite weekly reads. It's as simple as that. With that being said, we also have, of course, and I'm sure this is a huge favorite for everybody, Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, two-time G1 winner back in 2012 and 2014, and his 9th consecutive G1 entry. Literally last year, he came in as IWGP Heavyweight Champion, nearly ran the whole thing by himself, only to be stopped by two people. He got stopped by Sonata, and he got stopped, of course, by Kota Ibushi, who ended up winning the block in the end, and then literally winning the G1 at the very end, too. We also have one of my all-time favorites, as I currently am now going literally through NJPW's archives and watching every singles match Tomohiro Ishii has competed in since being part of New Japan Pro Wrestling. On the TV, you'll see I'm looking at Tamaki Homa versus Tomohiro Ishii for the Never Openweight title back in, was it 2013, I think, or 14? One of those 2 years. Someone can correct me on that. But Tomohiro Ishii has been a standout, bringing you classic after classic after classic matches when it comes to the freaking G1. Okay? He's faced the likes of Katsuyori Shibata, Shinsuke Nakamura, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and even last year, which I thought was my favorite match of the entire G1, Jon Moxley. He is a #1 ballot candidate to watch in the G1, but he has yet to win it. This is his 8th consecutive G1 Climax, and he is one of the current Never Openweight 6-man tag team champions. It's going to be very interesting to see the matches that he's going to go through, and we'll talk about some of my highlight matches I'm looking forward to as well. By the way, what I'm currently telling you, these are all participants in the A block. Kota Ibushi, Jeff Cobb, Kazuchika Okada, Tomohiro Ishii. Now, this one I know is going to turn some heads due to recent movements and really exposures that have happened among the wrestling community to hopefully reflect on people to maybe be a better person. But with that being aside, he's back, folks. Will Ospreay, 2nd consecutive assignment in the G1 since being a heavyweight. After winning Best of the Super Juniors last year and competing in his first G1, coming out with 8 points, which is a not bad score when you consider the field that he went through. He's back again, and he's trying to once again achieve, I think, a couple of ultimate goals. Not only win the G1, which is probably one of the last things he has yet to do in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but also he has yet to beat Kazuchika Okada. Could this be the year this happens? What sort of upsets could happen against Kazuchika Okada? Because again, the only ones that beat him last year was Sonata and Kota Ibushi, and Sonata's in the B block. But we'll see what Will Ospreay brings. And I'm sure that his toughest opponent to date from Best Super Juniors last year, one of the matches of the year last year, despite your feelings of this man now, is, well, I guess go from his past. Shingo Takagi is back in this year's G1, 2nd consecutive. Last year, he had a decent show where he also fell out of 8 points. But he got some big wins including my boy, Tomohiro Ishii. He had a great match with Tetsuya Naito. He outsmarted Toru Yano, and he destroyed Hiroki Goto. And he also beat Taiji. And again, this guy, he is one of the most dynamic, explosive, fast, hybrid athletes you will ever see in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Currently coming off his loss to Minoru Suzuki, the King, now new Never Openweight champion. I'm sure he's got a lot on his mind, but I'm sure the number one thing right now, he wants to build Naito versus Shingo for Wrestle Kingdom. As again, Naito is once again your double champion, folks. So he will be main eventing, as of this moment, the Tokyo Dome as the double champion. Now, whether or not they build a brand new belt that unifies it all as one thing, who knows at this point. But it's going to be interesting to see what Shingo does his 2nd time around. Can he surpass his last score? And then we have somebody that, like, finally he's back in it. This is his 9th time in the G1, yet to win it. The King, Minoru Suzuki. Casa Minare. The number one thing I see coming out of this is his next build match for his Never Openweight title. But who's going to step up and take out the King? Who's going to take on the King for that Never Openweight title when this thing goes by? Can Okada once again beat Minoru Suzuki like he did last year at Royal Quest? Can Shingo Takagi get some redemption and beat Minoru Suzuki since they're in the same block? Can somebody within Suzuki-gun surpass the King maybe? As Taiji is also back in the G1 this year, his 2nd consecutive. And he and Suzuki had an interesting face-to-face and share of words their post-tag preview match on the last day of the New Japan Road. This has been a really great year for Taiji, from his breakout match with Kazuchika Okada during the New Beginning to becoming one half of the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, to really showing what he can bring as a wrestler. And I gotta be honest, I just love the previews I've seen with him and Kota and their kickoff. Cannot wait for that match. But can Taiji really own in on this year's G1 and build maybe Taiji versus Naito? We've seen the rivalry these two have had, including a mic stand to the head that knocked Taiji out cold. Not to mention a steel chair that ran over Naito's head at the beginning of this year and literally just blasted the freaking man. Just saying. And then, yes, folks, he's back. The Switchblade, Jay White. Jay White is a man who says what he believes in and usually backs it up. Last year, after a horrible start, he went 6 consecutive wins and made it to the finale of the G1, winning the block. Now, can he capitalize on what he did last year and surpass that and actually win the G1, as this is his 3rd consecutive entry? We'll have to wait and see. And then you have Tokyo Pimp Yujiro Takahashi, who really gained his entry into the G1 based on his feud and matches with Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, as well as picking up a pinfall victory over Hiroki Goto, even if it wasn't tag team action. He wanted the opportunity, now he's got it. Can this be the ultimate upset? Can Yujiro stop Okada's momentum here? And can Yujiro surprise us? He is a former Never Openweight champion after all. And also, I'm sure Gale's Revenge is still on the table. With that being said, there are your 10 participants for Block A. Now, as far as who I think is going to win this block, I think about it like this. Kota Ibushi, Kazuchika Okada, they are literally the only 2 participants in this block that have won the G1. The rest have not. None of these people, however, are a debut. They have G1 experience, and some of them come very close too. I've been saying it forever. Why has Tomohiro Ishii not yet been the IWGP Heavyweight Champion? But I look at the setup of New Japan Pro Wrestling and how it's really been LIJ's year, and really Suzuki-Gun's year now. And that might be the setup heading into Wrestle Kingdom next year. I'm really high on Taiji. I believe he has a huge potential to give us the ultimate performance at Wrestle Kingdom with his voice in the main event, and he and Naito can tear the house down. But I also think about the fact that Shingo Takagi and Naito, they've had one incredible match from last year's G1, and they want to do it again. It really feels like LIJ is going to be the ones to main event the Tokyo Dome. So, with that being said, my top 2 picks to win the A block in this year's G1 goes as follows. I believe that it is going to come down to Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, and potentially his deciding opponent. I think that it's going to be Taiji. I think it's going to come down to Taiji and Kazuchika Okada come the end of the A block in this year's G1CLIMAX30. Now, who will be the one out of these 2 to win the block? If I were to pick a winner, it's hard to bet against the Rainmaker, right? Because, again, his focus now is on the G1. He lost on his idea at KOPW 2020. And, obviously, he wants the IWGP Heavyweight Championship back. Especially with the idea that, hey, they might just be unifying the Intercontinental and the Heavyweight into a brand new belt, which would be interesting. Though that being said, I'm actually going to be optimistic here and say that Taiji will win this year's A block. I want to see something unique. I want to see upsets. I want to see breakout moments. We know we're going to see classic matches that will be 5-star ratings by people like Dave Meltzer, if y'all believe that nonsense. And of course, many of my favorite matches of the year always come from the G1. So with that being said, I am actually going with Taiji to win Block A. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the more dynamic and somewhat of a breakout, I feel like, block here. That's really going to be led, I feel like, by the ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, who might not win the block because his body's breaking down on him, folks. He's even told about that. He wants to surpass even Kota at this point. He sees Kota as the next god after him, okay? But in this block, we have, of course, as I said, Hiroshi Tanahashi, 19th consecutive G1. The one person among this field of 20 that has been in more G1s than anybody else. This guy has the ultimate advantage in experience. And he is a 3-time G1 Climax winner. He won in 2007, 2015, and 2018. Nobody has yet, by the way, to win the G1 Climax 2 years in a row, consecutively. Keep that in mind. That's why I didn't go with Kota Ibushi, in case you're wondering. So, with that being said, Hiroshi Tanahashi, I'm sure he's going to bring a lot here. He had a score of 8 points last year. He dropped losses to Kota Ibushi, Okada, and Balak Fale, and Kenta, and Will Ospreay. So, can he surpass his score here? Do I see him going towards the block final? Maybe not, honestly. It's going to be an interesting showing for him, and I'm curious what this will lead to towards his Wrestle Kingdom, if he will be a part of it. Times are changing, folks. Also in the B block, we have Juice Robinson now for the 4th consecutive time. Juice Robinson, he shows a lot of heart and potential. He's been in great bats with Tomohiro Ishii and Hiroki Goto. Big win against Hiroki Goto, by the way. And he even beat Shingo Takagi last year. But again, he doesn't have to deal with 2 of those men. So I feel like Juice Robinson's going to have a very good showing, but I don't see him winning the block. Then we have Hiroki Goto, who has not won the G1 since 2008, but has been in now 13 consecutive G1 Climax matches. And I think about his overall mindset and score. Does the G and G1 stand for gold for Goto, as he had a pretty good score of 10 points last year? I don't think he's going to win it, though, personally, because right now, Yoshihashi, and Tomohiro Ishii, they are the 6-man overweight champions. I feel that's just more focused right now. And when it comes to Hiroki Goto and the top-tier scene, the highest I see him usually going is the never overweight title. And that'd be interesting to see him and Inosuke renew rivalries and potentially rebuild that match for Wrestle Kingdom. Just saying. Then we go to the most unpredictable force in the G1 that got 8 points last year, and honestly, based on his year, imagine this guy actually winning it. That would break the internet and pro wrestling as we know it. Toru Yano. Okay, Toru Yano, 15th now time in the G1, 14 consecutive times, and he's the current KLPW 2020 Provisional Champion. We have to figure out who's going to challenge him next for it. El Esperado still has that in mind, but now that he's one half the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, that probably won't be a focal point, I feel like. And Toru Yano, he just wants to do whatever he wants with everything, including this. He doesn't want literally to be controlled by the fans. He just wants to have his own fun. And I feel like his own fun is a very dangerous thing to think about. Toru Yano's mind scares me sometimes. So, first off, I see him giving us a lot of moments that are going to be like, when we think about who he outsmarts and beats. Because again, if it wasn't for Toru Yano beating Jon Moxley, I think Jon Moxley had a pretty clear path of winning the block last year. So with that being said, looking at this block, I sense some surprising upsets, once again, that are really going to shock people and go, what the hell? But I don't see Toru Yano winning the block. Nor do I see this man winning the block, but I'm glad he's in. It's been really a good rising year for Yoshihashi, as it's his first time in 2 years now, and his 4th entry in the G1. He is, of course, right now on Cloud 9 as he finally achieved New Japan Gold, holding 1/3, as I said, of the Never Openweight Tag Team Championships, after successfully defending them against his fellow Chaos brethren. Yoshihashi's going to have a lot to show here, and I really feel like his biggest match will be against Kenta. These two are no strangers to each other, as they formally faced each other last year during Fighting Spirit Unleashed for the Never Openweight title, where Kenta was this close to losing if it wasn't for help from God. And by the way, God, of course, will not be involved in any of these type of shenanigans at all, because again, they have family, do not want to risk it with coronavirus. Should be a pretty good item for Yoshihashi. I don't see him winning. But then we have the man that's been in it now for 11 straight times, won it twice, and is going in as the double champion, literally controlling his destiny, or trying to. Because again, if the champion wins the G1, he gets to choose his opponent for Wrestle Kingdom. Now, Naito's already been saying that he wants somebody like LIJ to surpass him, okay? We've seen the match with Shingo Takagi from last year, but this year's going to be really special to me because I feel like Tetsuya Naito is not going to win this, but someone from LIJ might. And it might very well be this guy. He said he wanted him. He's got him in this block. And this is one of the one-on-one encounters in the B block I am looking forward to the most. 5th time consecutively. Yet to win. Biggest year of his life last year. Major flop beginning of this year. Sanada. Sanada is back in the G1 this year. After scoring only 8 points last year, but still giving us match of the year with Okada. Not once, not twice, but 3 times, I might add. And he beat Okada during the G1 and gave us our match of the year according to Tokyo Sports at King of Pro Wrestling last year. It's been a rough year, though, for Cold Skull. At the beginning of the year, he lost to Zack Sabre Jr. for the British Heavyweight Championship. He lost to Jay White during the New Beginning Tour. And he lost out in the New Japan Cup. And honestly, he lost his longest parade and friend in LIJ based on, again, the struggles we saw during the New Japan Cup. Could this be the moment, the breakout year, where Sonata truly capitalizes, really shows us that he wants to be the leader in New Japan Pro Wrestling? Can you imagine a future where Sonata is your IWGP Heavyweight Champion? I can, honestly. And honestly, it might finally be his time. I mean, look how long Kota Ibushi and Hiroshi Tanahashi went at, and it finally built towards Tanahashi letting Kota pretty much now surpass him, it seemed, where Kota finally won last year. He just didn't capitalize on the result. Then moving on from there, we got Zack Sabre Jr., who is, again, fourth-time consecutive in this thing. He has not won the G1, but he is a New Japan Cup winner. He's been in the ring with Okada. He's been in the ring with Hiroshi Tanahashi. He's been in the ring with many of these people, including, as I said, being Sonata earlier. I sense he's going to have a lot to prove here after his score of only 8 points last year. I just hope he has a cooler head while he's one half of the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. And I hope he doesn't throw a tantrum. And I feel without Taka, it's probably going to be a similar result. I don't see him winning. Should be some interesting performances come out of this, though. And then we have Kenta, second time consecutively. And by the way, he is still the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship right to certificate holder. Last year, he really had a breakout debut through the G1 after Kazuya Shibata introduced New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then we saw what happened at the end of the G1 and what he became. Last year, though, he scored 8 points. He's already beaten Zack Sabre Jr. He has beaten sorry, he didn't beat Zack Sabre Jr. He beat Hiroshi Tanahashi. He beat Evo, which is our last participant, by the way. And he dropped losses to Zack Sabre Jr., Kazuchika Okada, Sonata, and Will Ospreay. And of course, a number of those people he will have to contend with in this block. Now, do I see him be a potential winner this year? And can Kenta once again go and challenge Tetsuya Naito like he did in the new beginning? I don't really know. But there's something going on within Bullet Club, I feel like, when it comes to leadership, I feel like. And I feel we're in for a major change come maybe New Year's Dash next year, even though Gato still says he still breathes with a switchblade. Something else is going on in the background, folks. Which leads us to our final entrant, fifth consecutive, Evil. And I'm sure Dick Togo will not be far to play spoiler to help him win a lot of his matches. Evil, in last year's G1, he only scored 8 points. And now he has to contend with fellow Bullet Club brethren and the guy that beat him for the double go recently at Jingu Stadium, Tetsuya Naito. Clearly, Evil's going to be out here to prove a point, win the G1, and get back what he believes is his, while rubbing it in Tetsuya Naito's face and everybody else's as well. Now, as far as the B block, it's much more explorative when it comes to what results we could see and who could be our winner. I look among this field and I see already 5 people that could win it. But if I have to pick 2 top contenders to win this block, for me, personally, I believe this block is going to come down to Sonata and Kenta. I believe this block is going to come down to Sonata and Kenta in the end. And as far as my overall winner of this block, I'm going to pick that the winner of the B block will be Sonata. I believe that this year's G1 Climax finale will be Sonata versus Taiji to challenge Naito for the double gold at Wrestle Kingdom. Both men have incredible history with Tetsuya Naito, one more friendlier than the other. Both men hold very much promise, have yet to capitalize on that top tier moment or get the top gold, and I feel both men are worthy for it. Now, as far as my overall winner, who I believe is going to win this year's G1 and be the one, my overall pick is Cold Skull Sonata. I believe Cold Skull Sonata is finally going to use this platform to push himself to the moon, and finally, we're going to see Naito versus Sonata for all the gold, where Sonata will finally surpass his friend and leader, and I feel Sonata might also become the new leader of LIJ. We honestly wonder how much farther Tetsuya Naito's knees can hold up and his mindset and stuff like that. He wants to be fine champion. He wants to bring more fun to these titles. He wants to be more exposed to these titles. He wants to bring more outdoor events. But I feel like Sonata right now can really bring something new into a brand new era. And who knows what 2021 is going to look like. But my overall pick to win this year's G1, my pick is Cold Skull Sonata. So with that being said, let's go ahead and briefly discuss the opening matches. As you all know, I will of course be bringing you daily simple takes based on the results of each day. And again, each day will just be simply 5 matches of block action. A block and B block, etc. Alternatively, as we keep going. Let's go ahead and talk about our opening day. Our opening day will be literally 1 week from today, September 19th in Osaka, and it will be A block action. We will have a Wrestle Kingdom rematch kicking us off. Can you believe that? With Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, and Golden Star Kota Ibushi. This year at Wrestle Kingdom was one of my top 3 favorite matches of the entire 2-day event. Love that event, by the way. I don't think they need to do 2 days going forward, though. Just saying. And literally, these two, they went over 30 minutes. And Kota did everything he could to try and beat the Rainmaker, but it just wasn't enough as he fell for the Rainmaker. Literally. But here's the thing. Shout out to Jeff Meacham. Please follow the Jeff Meacham Network. Kazuchika Okada has yet, during this new era since COVID, to use the Rainmaker to win an actual match. He has won every match via submission with his camel clutch. Or Cobra Clutch, excuse me. So, with that being said, can Kota Ibushi capitalize on it, or will Okada bring back the Rainmaker move? Is this when Okada finally uses the Rainmaker to show, I'm back, I'm still the top guy, I am going to win the G1? So, with that being said, if I have to pick a winner just from this match, it's hard to bet against Okada. But Tanahashi wants Kota Ibushi to surpass him. In order to surpass him, you have to beat his greatest rival. I feel like now might finally be the time. But again, he did beat him in last year's G1, and that was literally the final deciding match. This is our opening bout. So unfortunately, under these circumstances, I'm going to say right now that Okada will win this bout. Our next match features Shingo Takagi versus Jay White, a rematch from last year's G1, as both these men were also in the same block. And last year, Shingo Takagi, he lost to the Switchblade. This will be the first match, by the way, for Jay White in New Japan Pro Wrestling in Japan since COVID era. So with that being said, with everything that's been going on with Bullet Club, you need that strength, you need that reinforcement. We know that he came off 3 initial losses last year to Tomohiro Ishii, Toa Yano, and Hiroki Goto. Shingo Takagi, though, was not part of those 3. I feel like this year, Shingo Takagi, though, with a different mindset now to go after the real goal, though I'm sure he still wants to kick Minoru Suzuki's head off, and will eventually. I'm going to say during this match that I'm going to go with the Switchblade Jay White, because it's hard to bet against the freaking guy. He backs up probably everything he says 95% of the time. And I'm sure Gato will not be far behind either. This is probably going to be the happiest moment of Gato's life this year, that Jay White is back. As he constantly has been saying, I still breathe with the Switchblade. Now with that being said, let's go to the match I am actually most looking forward to during Night 1 action. The King and current Never-Openweight Champion, Minoru Suzuki, facing former Never-Openweight Champion and current 1/3 6-man Never-Openweight Tag Team Champion, one of my all-time favorites to always watch in the G1, Stone Pit Bull, Tomohiro Ishii. Oh my god, this is going to be so damn good. Now, Tomohiro Ishii has had a pretty darn good year so far. Again, he is a champion. He and Sho had an incredible fallout during that 6-man match. That was just founded on respect. And honestly, Minoru Suzuki and Tomohiro Ishii, they have not messed around a lot this year. But Tomohiro Ishii has contended for the Never-Openweight title against Shingo Takagi back during the New Beginning Tour in an all-out physical war that Shingo Takagi did won. This is Minoru Suzuki's first G1 Climax match in 2 years since being back now. Do I see the King falling to the Stone Pit Bull? Here's the thing. I want to see Tomohiro Ishii versus Minoru Suzuki for the Never-Openweight title. I really do. In order to get that fulfillment, I gotta see Tomohiro Ishii beat the King. So with that being said, it's his return. But the Minoru Suzuki, he's out to prove a point here, okay? He's ageless, man. And one way or another, I feel like we're going to get that Never-Openweight match. It would not surprise me if that's the matchup for Wrestle Kingdom. I hope it is. Kasaninare, I'm not going against the King, though. I believe Minoru Suzuki is going to come out and win this here. And I believe Tomohiro Ishii is going to literally try and hurt the guy, unlike Yuji Nagata in Minoru Suzuki's words. Which leads us now to Jeff Cobb versus Taiji. These two, again, have a ton of history over the Never-Openweight title and also have faced each other previously in the G1, where, of course, Jeff Cobb, he did beat Taiji. But again, Taiji, this is a renewed Taiji, I feel like. This is not the same Taiji as last year. So I believe the Holy Emperor will prevail against the Hawaiian Juggernaut. No offense. And the last match features Will Ospreay versus Yujiro Takahashi. There's not much to say here, and I'm not saying that because of, stuff again from earlier this year. But it's Yujiro Takahashi. Guys has mixed fortunes. Will Ospreay is just a wrestler on another level. I believe Will Ospreay is going to win this match here. All right. And with that being said, let's go ahead and briefly talk about Block B open action because I feel like the opening days are really going to set up, I feel like, our overall feelings towards who we think truly is going to win this and who's just going to really try and impress us or be spoiler maker. So let's go ahead and briefly talk about the opening day 2 in Osaka. That is the first day of Block B action. And again, folks, every one of these G1 Climax matches, they are 30-minute time limit, 2 points for a win, 1 point, I believe. No, excuse me. 2 points for the win. 1 point for a 30-minute draw for each man. 0 points if you're, of course, the loser. Opening day for B block is as follows. We got the ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Tetsuya Naito. Now, these two are no strangers to each other, and this is going to be a very interesting bout. I can't remember the last time that Hiroshi Tanahashi and Tetsuya Naito literally faced off against each other one-on-one, and Tetsuya Naito is the double champion. With that being said, I sense tranquilo. It's going to be a hard-fought bout, but in the end, I feel it's destino that Tetsuya Naito will win this one. Which leads me now to Evil with Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr., he is the submission specialist. He is submission master. Evil, though, he is the impromptu powerhouse now, and I guess impromptu leader of Bullet Club, even though he no longer has the gold. He also have Dick Togo in his corner. Zack Sabre Jr. will likely not have Taiji in his corner, or anybody from Suzuki-gun for that matter. And I feel because of those outside interferences, and this is a match with 2 heels, let's be honest here. And Evil does have the power, and he did beat Zack Sabre Jr. last year. I feel like history is going to repeat itself. I'm going to say Evil wins this match. Hiroki Goto versus Kenta. We have another Wrestle Kingdom rematch here as these two duked it out earlier this year for the Never Openweight title where Hiroki Goto won. Kenta, I'm sure, will be looking for revenge and probably will be sporting a new haircut. And Kenta, I'm sure, is going to try and make Hiroki Goto go to sleep, but Goto's going to do everything he can to try and win the G1 this year. Again, Goto did end last year with 10 points. He's definitely someone to consider. With that being said, though, this is Kenta. We need to start building him back up. We need to start building Bullet Club back up, if I'm honest with you. And I believe that Kenta is going to use a low blow and a GTS to get the win here. Then we have Toru Yano versus Sonata, a man that is vocal and a man that really doesn't show emotion but wrestles through it. And this is going to come down to who could really outsmart the other. We've already seen Sonata lock Toru Yano in a Paradise Lock, honestly. And really, I just hope to see that. But we also see what Toru Yano is willing to do to get the win. With that being said, though, if my guy Sonata's going to win this here, I gotta believe he's got to have a good start. I'm going with Sonata for the win. And then finally, we have Juice Robinson versus Yoshihashi. 2 men with strong exhibitions and ambitions. And both men really want to set the course for their G1 here. And it starts with this. Again, Yoshihashi, though, he's already got New Japan Gold. He's already fulfilled a 12-year dream. Let's see how far he can go in the G1. I believe Juice Robinson, though, is going to pull out the victory here with the left hand of God. He did come out with 8 points last year. And those are just my brief opening thoughts, predictions, and simple takes and picks for the 2 opening days, the initial day for each block for G1 Climax 30. In the end, folks, what do you think? Who will be the one? We have a lot to talk about and discuss as we go forward, and I'm sure our mindsets are going to be like, I should have gone with this guy. This might actually happen. This guy might win it. There's no way this guy's winning it. But we're just going to have to wait and see. But also, we will have Young Lions action before each night of block action, as they will be doing singles action. So be on the lookout for Gabriel Kidd, Yota Tsuji, and Uya Yamera. I feel like Kidd right now really needs to try and get some wins here, especially after being the one to lose in his opening 6-man tag with his Young Lion cohorts against that veteran duo during the last New Japan Brawl. But I digress. That's all for now. So thank you so much for tuning in. In case I was just rambling on, you didn't get it, let me just say it again. My overall winner for the G1, I believe, will be Sonata, and it will come down to Sonata versus Taiji. There. With that being said, I look forward to the G1 as I do every year. This is my moment and time and the greatest happiness I find as a fan of professional wrestling. So you want to know more about me? Know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of ... wrestling. So please, Instagram, PlayStation, Twitter, it's at mfoster1916. Follow the Civil YouTube channel here at youtube.com/user/noahfoster210 for all things wrestling. Shout out to my ATW family on Twitter. I'll be giving you constant discussions and highlights and coverage over G1CLIMAX30, where we will see who will be the one, as well as any other developments. Because we're going to figure out new tag team challengers now that we got new tag champions for both divisions. If nothing else, the heavyweight tag team championships. New challenger for the neverweight title, and I'm pretty dang sure the next challenger to Toru Yano's KLPW 2020, whether he likes it or not. With that being said, as always, you know what I'm about. Support WrestleJoy. Support Pro Wrestling Discussion. Support Team All Elite. Support NoDQ. Buy a shirt. NoDQ.com/merch. Support wrestling house big and small. Support private success, the heart of it, folks. And let's keep growing this incredible, diverse, unique, elite, authentic, unscripted, unrestricted wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell, know the next video goes live on this channel. Hit the subscribe button. I'll be back with you all after, let's see, what's happening this upcoming week. Ooh, that's right. We got the return of NXT UK. We'll have another Super Chat live on Friday night. We also have, I believe, the start of NWA Primetime, which will be highlighted first by Nick Aldis versus Mike Bennett, and much more matches to come, as well as stay tuned for the next episode of AEW Spark, discussing all things All Elite Wrestling. It's such a good time to be a pro wrestling fan, even during these crazy times. So find something, somebody, some promotion, some friends, or some rivals if you choose to, that you can connect with, and be a wrestling fan too. Join the fun, all right? So until the next video, I just hope you all take care, enjoy live. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure your families, enjoy wrestling, and just, be safe, be happy, find peace where you can. Don't take this lightly, but we will overcome this in the end. Wear a mask, please, so we can move on. Because I don't know about you, but I miss attending live wrestling and just being out there just for the long haul. So until next time, I just hope you all enjoy your Saturday, and I will see you all again, definitely, if nothing else you follow this channel for. I'll see you all again, definitely after the conclusion of G1 Climax Day 1. Look again, yo. Sayonara.